Echoes in the concrete. Recap. You've met Mama Craig and witnessed her love for the legendary Ebenezer Obey, cooking and sewing. You saw Papa Craig struggle to accept that there isn't an absolutely perfect system, even though they live in what his wife called the land of opportunities. And yes, we can't forget the heroic Joshua, who surprisingly has took in a lot of his parents' culture than is expected, while his sister Timmy is still caught between the two worlds, slowly shaping her identity. Now, let's see where the next chapters take us in the story of being raised by two worlds. Chapter 4. A surprise came in the mail. Timmy sits on the living room floor in soft afternoon light, surrounded by opened envelopes and folded letters. It was a package from Grandma in Nigeria. Inside were handwritten letters, each one filled with proverbs, some pictures, life stories, and recipe cards. She gently holds one handwritten sheet close, her face a mix of wonder and pride. Beside her, a small package from Nigeria laid open with a few packed spices and a yellow recipe card labeled, "For Timmy, you are ready." Mama Craig stands in the background, watching with a knowing smile, while Joshua peeks over Timmy's shoulder, curious as Timmy folded each letter slowly, savoring the creases and scent of distant earth. Grandma's handwriting curled across the pages like vines, soft, strong, and full of memory. One recipe was for egusi soup, but the message was much deeper. Another was for ofada sauce, a spicy, pungent dish Timmy had once gagged her, but now she held the recipe card like an heirloom. Emma Craig knelt beside her, touched the card and whispered, "She knows. You've crossed into your own story now." Timmy didn't answer. She just nodded, holding the card a little tighter. She had gagged the first time Mama Craig made ofada sauce. It was 2 years ago, a Saturday, and the smell had filled the apartment like an uninvited guest. Spicy, smoky, loud. She walked into the kitchen, wrinkled her nose, and shouted over the sizzle, "Mom, something is burning!" Mama Craig turned, spatula in hand, wearing a triumphant smile. "It's supposed to smell like that." Timmy had fled to her room with the juice box, swearing she'd never eat anything that looked like lava and smelled like revenge. Now, holding her grandmother's recipe card, she smiled without meaning to. She hadn't understood it then, but this wasn't just food, it was memory, it was voice, it was her. And this time, she stayed. Slowly, she began to read the letters at night. And then one day, to everyone's surprise, she asked Mama Craig to teach her how to cook. They stood side by side in the kitchen. "Tear it slow, let the palm oil rise," her mom said. "I thought you said fast hands make fast food." Mama Craig smiled, but slow hands make memories. Chapter 5. By spring, Timmy had submitted her poem to a citywide school contest. It was written in the hush of one evening, inspired by the rhythm of sizzling palm oil and the scent of fried eru curling from Mama Craig's pot, surrounded by quiet sound. The scrape of Mama Craig's spoon, the soft ease of stew, the steady whisper of her own breath. Timmy didn't plan to write a poem. It came the way something do, like scent, like a core memory, the sound of yam being pounded just before dinner, the language of my mother's hands. Each line dripped with the things she didn't yet know how to say out loud. The next day, when her teacher read it, she paused, then read it again and again. Finally, she looked up. "Timmy, this poem doesn't belong in your notebook. It belongs in the world." She won second place. The ceremony was held at the Brooklyn Public Library. When Timmy stood behind the stadium, her heart was surging. Mama Craig and Papa Craig in the front row dressed proudly and stood out in their traditional attire. Joshua waved at her, mouthing, "Go, go, go!" Timmy cleared her throat and read, her voice steady. "Her hands carry heat, pies, silence. Her fingers know the story that my mouth forgot. I'm learning to listen again, not with ears, but with hunger." And she read on. The room hushed, then applause, like rainfall. Later, a stranger approached Mama Craig. "Your daughter made me miss my grandmother." "Thank you." In a similar fashion, Joshua performed his first solo drum piece at the local cultural fest following weekend. The beats were clumsy at first, but with every thump, the crowd clapped louder. Papa Craig beamed like someone had handed him a trophy. One Sunday evening, as the family sat around their small fire escape, grilling the pin's elbow and roasting chicken suya, Timmy looked up from her phone. "Think maybe I want to visit Lagos next summer." Papa Craig nearly dropped his drink. Mama Craig's smile was a sunrise from where she stood, basking in a blessing. "But I'll still want burgers when I come back." Timmy had it, grinning. They all laughed, and in that moment, above the city's roar, something unspoken passed between them. Not blood, not a language, not even food, but legacy. Invisible, deliberate, home. Chapter 6. The heat hit Timmy like a slap as soon as she stepped out of Murtala Mohammed International Airport. "Is the sun hungry here?" she muttered. She, in her face, her brace hitched slightly from the humidity. Joshua was running around with excitement, pointing at everything like he'd entered a new planet. Iri, nearly age 2 now, clung to Mama Craig wide-eyed. After they found their way out of the hands of the notorious immigration protocol at the arrival, they were swept into the famous Lagos rush hour traffic. The roads were jammed like paint squeezed too tight on a pallet. Horns blared with reckless joy. Street hawkers chased after their car, offering sausage rolls, plantain chips, and cold pure water sachet among non-famous traffic merchandise only possible in cities like Lagos. Billboards screamed in both English and Pidgin, "Vote for progress, Naija no dey carry last." My grandmother's house in Obalende was not what Temi expected. It wasn't fancy, but it had a long courtyard with a mango tree, iron gate painted mefwin, and the smell of something rich and smoky coming from the kitchen. Grandma Foluke, a petite, regal woman with peppered grey hair and a voice like a drum roll, met them at the gate with open arms and a smile that folded the kiss into her cheek. "You came, finally, thank God." She pulled Timmy in, palm on her chest. I knew one day the concrete would echo back my voice.